insist that nothing wrong happened with the Greenbelt unit. If nothing wrong happened, why did Ryan Amato resign?
Well, let me speak about the process. I've come out here a couple times now. We're correcting the process. We're taking the 14 recommendations from the Auditor General and we're correcting it. I'm first to admit the process could have been better. But, you know, we need a wartime effort right now on all fronts. We all have to be working together. And I have I have to tell the builders out there, I've talked to a lot of mayors. I talked to a lot of them at AMO. And, you know, I'm drawing a line in the sand. If you don't start building, you know, be it the Greenbelt, or I'll be pulling that out as sure as I'm standing here, or if you have permits within municipalities, I'm talking to the mayor saying, so many builders have permits and they aren't building. That's unacceptable.
Premier, this is your signature policy, building housing and opening up the Greenbelt. How is it that you're saying a senior staffer, unbeknownst to you, essentially orchestrated the whole thing? How is that supposed to be believable?
Yeah, well, let me tell you very simply, and it goes for any premier, you know, you get stuff put in front of you before cabinet, which I did. My exact words, cross the T's, dot the I's, everything's fine. I can't micromanage one of the largest, I call it a corporation, one of the largest corporations in North America of $204 billion of revenue, hundreds of thousands of employees, a GDP over $1 trillion, and micromanage every single person. I don't believe in micromanaging. I believe in delegating work through our ministers and their teams.
Did you ever speak to Ryan Amato or direct him to remove those specific properties?
I did not. 100%, I did not direct him. I didn't even know who was coming forward. The day of cabinet, they brought it forward, and we just moved forward with it.
Premier, the chief of staff takes.
I'm sorry.
Are you concerned about the RCMP investigation?
Well, you know, if they decide to investigate, they haven't decided yet, but if they do, I take it very serious, extremely serious. And I'll have zero tolerance if there was any nonsense going on.
There was no wrongdoing, why not call in a public inquiry then?
Again, I'm not going to answer hypothetical questions, but we're going to move forward with the 14 recommendations from the Auditor General. It's the process that could have been better. We're correcting the process, but our number one goal is to build homes. We have thousands, tens of thousands of people. I have people in my own riding, as you've heard, asylum seekers, new refugees coming here are sleeping in churches' basements, sleeping in an old TD bank. That's unacceptable. We need to continue to build homes.
Premier, how can you make that argument when the Auditor General's report found that your government did not even look at how much you would even be able to build housing on this land, how serviceable it was? That wasn't even in mind when the land was left. So how can you stand up there?
Well, actually, I'm going to totally disagree because that's not accurate. Any of these lands are right beside serviceable lands. So on one side of the street, there's a community. On the other side of the street, there's an empty field. But we have to continue, but we're talking about, let's put this into perspective. You're stuck on the Greenbelt, I get it. Folks, it's 1/3 of 1% that you refuse to keep mentioning. It's 1/3 of 1%, and we put in 1/4 to replace it. It was a land swap. But in saying that, that's a small piece of the puzzle. That's 150,000 people that are going to have roofs over their head. We need 1.5 million, and that's the base. And I didn't plan on the federal government bringing in 500,000 people. That's more than Florida and Texas. The fastest growing regions in North America are Florida and Texas, and we're way above them, way above them on growth. That's over 5 million people in the next 10 years. That's almost the size of 2 cities of Toronto being plopped down here. We need the federal government to support us. We need the federal government to come up with a national housing plan, not just for Ontario, but right across this country.
Premier, you know as well as anyone that the chief of staff takes direction from the minister. What responsibility does the housing minister hold, and why is he not here next to you today?
Well, the housing minister's out there, and I have full confidence in Steve Clark. He's out there trying to build homes. He's out there trying to cut red tape. You know, we have given the tools to the municipalities to speed up the process, to make sure that they get homes built. But I'm not pointing the fingers at municipalities. They're doing a great job. As I mentioned at AMO, some are at 116%, some are at 109%. We're there to help them. My frustration is when I talk to the mayors and I talk to the chairs of the regions, that some of these builders, they're land banking the stuff, and that's unacceptable.
Why did Ryan Amato resign, sir?
You know something? We accepted his resignation, and it went through our chief of staff. He accepted it. You're going to have to ask Ryan Amato.
Taxpayers who are saying that your billionaire friends are making profits off this. What do you say to
You know, I don't give, let me tell you something, my friend, I don't give two hoots about the builders. Are they part of a solution along with many other people? Yes. My full intention is to make sure that we have homes, attainable homes, affordable homes, regular homes, rental units. And I think over the last couple of years, 21, 22, we've had more rentals and more housing starts since 30 years. So that's my intention. When I look at these people in the eye and I go through these factories, very, very few elected officials go out there and meet the people like I have, and you're looking at them eye to eye, and I've done it over the last 5 years, but over even the last few weeks, their number one issue is I need a home. I need to find rent. That's not an astronomical amount. That's my goal.
Did you speak to the OPP about their investigation?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 100% not. That's up to the OPP and to refer it over the RCMP, but that's totally separate. I don't get involved.
Why they were doing that? Did they explain to you or your office why?
No, I do not have contact with them. You know, there's no secret. Around the province, we always support law enforcement, we support our firefighters, and we support our paramedics, first responders. But no, that's up to them.
Who's been interviewed
so far in your government? Who's been interviewed in your government by the OPP so far?
You'd have to, I wouldn't have a clue. You'd have to ask the OPP.
Premier, you say you want housing built
Yep.
fast,
Yes.
quickly, right? There's urgency to it, but the AG's report found that a lot of the land that was chosen to be taken out isn't ready for development. The chief planners in York, Durham, and Hamilton said it could take years to make it ready. So if all of the land in the Greenbelt, the 600 applications that have been made since 2005, why those 15 pieces chosen when they didn't meet the criteria? The criteria were changed throughout this process, and they're not ready for development.
Well, again, I'm going to respectfully disagree. The water's there, the electricity's there. On one side of the street, there's homes. The other side, there isn't. But even further, these same municipalities have requested, well before my time, requested the the provincial government of the day to take them out of the Greenbelt. Again, folks, when I talk to people and I say 1/3 of 1%, it's like a speck on a map. They say, really? And they're making that big of a deal? Well, you know something? I'm going to use every tool in the toolbox to make sure that we build homes for those people that I'm talking to day in and day out. No matter if they're new Canadians, if they're a worker on the line, if they, want to buy a home, we're going to make sure. It's very simple, supply and demand.